I will just show the room quickly. There is Richard and Emma and Ola today, and Cecilia and Annika on stream. Hmm. See to it that you sit comfortably. Close your eyes. And notice this moment. Whatever arises, the expressions that come through the body, emotions, thoughts, physical sensations, what comes through the senses. You notice everything, everything that arises in this moment. It's not that you're trying to notice or trying to find anything. You just see what is. What is the natural expression of this moment? There's nothing to gain, nothing to control. You just stay with the moment as it is. If you're comfortable in this moment or uncomfortable, it doesn't matter. You just notice what is. If there is a lot of thoughts or no thoughts, doesn't matter. Just notice. And by noticing, I don't mean some intellectual acrobatics of noticing. Just be with what is. Notice the expression that gives the sensation of I. And if you follow this expression of I to the source, you will notice that it is not a thing. That the expression of this moment, meditation, and you are all the same. You will not find an excited state of happiness because excitement is of the future. The egoic mind will say that the peace in the stillness is boring. It will say there is no drama. There's nothing happening there. From the egoic mind standpoint, it is death. But actually, this is you. You may call it attention, the present moment, now, Atman, whatever you like. This stillness cannot be touched. Your intellect cannot grasp it as an idea. You cannot hold it. It cannot get lost. It cannot break. It's pure awareness in which everything comes, stays for a while, and goes. Even the idea of you. And also the body. What is it that can determine the changefulness of everything? It is the stillness. Awareness that is always there. that to the idea of this expression, it seems that it comes and goes, but that just because something obscures it, the idea of you. We can talk about it. We can have intellectual discussions about it. But it can only be experienced because it's not born out of time. It is here. Everything that you take yourself to be comes from this. And all those ideas will fall back into this. The only movable part in all of this is awareness itself. It's prior even to consciousness. Consciousness is just conscious of all the objects, the body, all the expressions, everything that comes and goes. And even if you believe in a lot of things, and your thoughts constantly jump from one thing to another, it can all be perceived, can it not? It's all happening in something. On the surface, you might believe that you are a body, that you are a person that inhibits certain talents, strengths and weaknesses, flaws and features, but you are boundless. And observe the body because you are prior to the body. You can observe the thoughts because you are prior to the thoughts. Same with emotions, other expressions. And come back again and again to this place, the edge of your understanding. And remember that the egoic mind will never drop on your command. But if you stay on your edge, then grace can touch you. You can open your eyes, move your body if you need to. You might hear the same things again and again. You might think that some of the things that you hear are just a spiritual cliche. Stay in the now. You're not the body. But if you truly look, you have the chance to change those cliches forever. That they stop being something that you hear, or perhaps something that you say, and to become something that you live. What is the potential of this moment? Is it that something can happen later? Something to feel hopeful about? Or is the true potential of this moment that it is this moment? That there is always peace. Even if the mind is busy, there is something that is the same. Can you recognize that? Even when you lose your footing, you feel off balance, something is the same. And maybe you hold on for a while to your thing, to your situation or your idea. And then again, you relax. It might seem like a trick at first, something that you can do to bring yourself comfort. But you will notice after a while that it's just happening. And the holding on of it is not helpful. If you're listening to these words only with your mind, you will miss what I'm talking about. You will say, I can follow you to this point, but I cannot go any further. If you are lost as soon as I talk about staying as awareness, the silence of this moment, that is because that requires that you stay with this moment. You cannot do anything to get anywhere, because that is the domain of the doer. For someone to get somewhere, you need two. And if you're going to stay as you are, you can be one. Think that it's lovely that you don't have to believe me. Actually, I would prefer if you don't. I would prefer if you just have a little trust and listen, and then you investigate. You look for yourself. It becomes your experience. I would love for you to say, I'm not going to a teacher, the teacher is here. All the answers come from here. They always did. I just for a while needed to be reminded of something out there. But what it resonates with, what it connects with, is the wisdom in you. There's no external wisdom. There is not a construct of a teacher and a student. It's all happening in you. There's just a need to be sincere and to be open. To have a little trust, have a little faith in something bigger than the small constructed I. It's not a complicated thing. It's not some kind of puzzle where you need 1,000 pieces. It's just the intention to stay as you are. And to dare to question those strategies that you have today if they really make you happy. Do they make you content? Do they make you free from your karma? Do they make you free from your true suffering to feel that something is lacking? The thing that Buddha called dukkha, suffering from discontentment. If your strategies does not do those things, then you might want to abandon them. Because then who are they for? If your strategies is just for the egoic mind, then you will always play the game of for and against, pain, pleasure, resist or want. Is always the two sides of the coin if you play the ego's game. Even if you feel like your strategies give you super good confidence, you will feel the backside of that. And that is the moment when you're not feeling that you're not enough. It always comes with the other side, because that is the game of the egoic mind. And even when it approaches meditation, the ego can be very much involved and say, yes, let's go, let's really do this meditation thing. And it's so pumped up and it's excited and it puts in all this effort. And at some point, it feels like nothing is happening. Maybe all old fears come up and the darkness is really approaching in your meditation. And the egoic mind says, but this is not what I'm signed up for. This doesn't work. So the play will always be like that. But you will also notice that there is another current. And that's a very intuitive current. And it doesn't really want things that are nice. It wants to know. It has a completely different quality. It is the part in you that longs to be challenged. The part in you that seeks out things that are difficult. Because it knows that it will make you present. In this intuitive sense, it's not interested in pleasure. It's always interested in knowing. There seems to be a deep longing for awareness to know itself. Longing to find out who you are.
Yes. So if we kind of have this, I mean, if we started on our spiritual journey, so to say, and we kind of battle like forth and back. I mean, that can be, in some way, that can be very painful, right? I mean, that's my experience, and I don't know exactly what the question is, but maybe if you could talk about this subject a little bit about mean having feeling like you have contact with this awareness and just can rest in it, and then it's gone, and then it's like, yeah, this kind of back and forth thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
When the longing is there, you can feel very identified. There's something in that the egoic mind clings onto. And this is the complexity of the mind, that it goes into this longing and is separated in its longing for the stillness. It knows that it's there because you have experienced it, but now it's gone. There's a there's a beautiful Rumi poem. Let's see if I can find it. Yes. When I'm with you, we stay up all night. When you're not here, I can't go to sleep. Praise God for those two insomnias and the difference between them. Because one is that you're longing, but there is no experience. So you're worried, maybe this meditation thing doesn't work. What is my spiritual quest? What am I doing? I'm laying here at night, cannot sleep, and putting all this effort in. And a couple of nights later, it comes knocking. The mind is quiet. Everything comes to you. The stillness is so deep. So you cannot sleep. Just keeps you up. Feel like there's not a tired bone in your body. Everything's just full. So of course we can suffer the longing. But I think also that it should be expressed. I think that songs like Door of My Heart are beautiful in that sense. It's a song by Atmananda, and it's just about the longing to be in union with everything. And I think to express when you have that kind of feeling, it's good. It's also a feeling that has to be accepted and recognized. And it's something beautiful to really long for this deep, serene happiness. Not a happiness of excitement, but a happiness of contentment. And most people are so directed in that towards the outside to find some either faults or hope or dreams in the external world, and how that should either bring them joy or are in the way of their joy. And if you come back to what is, however your life unfolds, if you go to school, to some education, or whatever way your life is happening, it's not of great consequence. But always come back to here. And don't be afraid of the longing. Embrace it also. Sing if you have to. I know for many people that those kind of things feel very religious, but it has its place. And in that, there is often a thank you hidden somewhere. And sometimes you don't understand why you need to sing or you need to express through a little ceremony or bowing or whatever you do. But you just have to show yourself that everything comes from grace. Everything comes from the stillness, expresses through you. You can either allow it or resist it. And in one of those ways, you will suffer, and the other one, you will not. We often talk about the word acceptance as a very neutral word. But deep acceptance of this moment, another word for that is love. And that has for people a completely different tone to it. But I like to interchange those two because they show the quality of what this acceptance does. And when we project that acceptance on someone else, to love them fully is to accept them fully. They have their flaws, they have their things, their strangeness. But with love, it doesn't matter so much. It's as with my parents. They used to bother me a lot. Now they're just wonderful, quirky sometimes, so wonderful. And it has nothing to do with the external. They do not change. Don't think that anyone will change. If you hope for that, the dark path. But if you accept them as they are, they might change. Or they will just seem different. Where is the kindness in the world? Where does that arise from? We think that that is some neutral factor, that either some things are kind and some things are dark. But it just seems like if there is kindness here, you will see much more kindness out there. Even if there is fear here, that is what you will see. But we're always blind to our own experience, so we think that the world is somehow neutral. But you are the world. What you think that you are is the expression that you see. And that is not to judge yourself harshly. It's just to be real with it. If you are fearful, you will see fear. And you will attract fear. And perhaps a very specific kind of fear. So the beauty of that is that it shows you. Especially if you say to yourself, I seem to come in this situation again and again. That is like the universe is conspiring with you to show you this is what's going on. This is what's going on here. But you all the time say, it's you, it's you, it's you. You're doing this. People are like that. And people say that they long for peace. But peace is here. You are the expression of that. If there's conflict, if there's fragmentation, if there's duality here, then you will express that. You will believe that you are separate. You will talk about different people, different countries or groups, like they do like this and they do like that. And so many ideas that you know nothing about. And if you understand that everyone is looking for the way to live a good life, they may have a very strange idea of what that is. But they're all trying. They're trying from what they think is best. And all sides always think that they're on the good side. I understand. I understand the security of identifying with the egoic mind, identifying with a certain group, identifying with a nationality, creating a strong feeling, them and us, because you feel safe in your group and there's a well-defined enemy. Making the world black and white. But the more you look, you will notice that everything just happens. You can say that someone lives a life through bad choices, but they try the best with what they have. And if you understand that your life just happens from whatever you have with you, with your upbringing, and if you can come to terms with those expressions in yourself, you won't be so interested in judging others, because you understand that I could have been in that person's shoes instead. This is just how it happened. And I saw a documentary about meditation in a prison in New Delhi, and the woman who was um, the CEO of the prison, or the boss, she said to the guards, there's no difference between you and the inmates, because the guards were always, there was like a culture of them showing that they were so much better. And she said, there's no difference. There's just the difference of circumstance that makes you be the guard and they be the inmates. And that's a beautiful view. But to digest that, you have to look. You have to accept what is here. And if you have the idea that you are in control of everything, then you also think that someone else, when they fail, have been in control of everything and failed at that. But life just happens. How you accept that now is everything that determines the quality of it. That's also very beautiful. Because otherwise it would be just, you have these, you had a good upbringing or a bad upbringing, and if you had a bad upbringing, your life is crap. And if you had a good upbringing, your life is good. But that is not true. There are so many examples. And I like the example of this famous spiritual teacher, Eckhart Tolle, who was just depressed. You would say that he would have no chance to do anything, any spiritual endeavors or anything to do with happiness. But he just questioned, to whom? Is there two me? Who is this sadness happening to, this anxiety? And it broke. And it just came intuitively to him. And people often ask me, can I feel better? Can I get rid of my traumas? Can I get rid of anxiety if I practice meditation? It can happen, but don't meditate with that in mind. Know yourself. This is the path into meditation. And knowing yourself will change things. Because as soon as you have the intention of getting rid of something or fixing something, you're saying that you are something and there is a problem and you're dual and everything is all the time about that. And you get stuck in this loop of feeling separate and you feel hopelessness and you feel so alone in it. So many people walk around, feel like no one understands them or what they're going through. And they look around and see the images that people present of themselves, and no one seems to feel shit like me and to have these problems. Because most people suffer, even if they have a great Instagram page. And you might ask, but what do I do? How do I go about this? How do I approach meditation? Would be nice if the answer would be like, you just have to work a little bit harder. Just put in more effort. But the problem with that is that who is putting in more effort? As soon as you grab that thought, you're creating this duality that there is something that is not as it should be, and that you have to get to the goal. It's always the same thing. It's always the same kind of effort that makes that. So, how do you go about doing the non doing? And if you ever had it, any kind of spiritual opening, you would say, I didn't know that it was coming and I didn't do anything. So how? But I was breathing in a special way that day, and then I ate spaghetti. Maybe that had something. But this is the way that the mind works. It tries to recreate the conditions of that moment. And it can be obsessed by it for a while. And just to remember that you're already it. It's already here. You don't have to be fixed, but you have to stay here. If you go with the mind and you believe in the idea of the future, even if it is excitement or something that you find very positive thought wise, it takes you out of this moment. You get a kick out of it, but then you realize that you're separate. And don't be afraid to try things. Tell the mind to shut up. Tell the mind to come and get you. Whatever it, try making the mind silent by force. Try everything. See how it works and see how it does not work. Because if you had any glimpse at all, you will notice that there are some qualities with it. There's something very natural. Some people would call it flow, that is just events unfolding very naturally. You don't have to think about getting up or doing anything. It just, the right thing just happens when it happens. Even words happen in the way that they are supposed to happen. It seems to be very quiet. So that natural, intuitive movement is most prominent. So what you do in your practice is that you just stay as close to those qualities as you can. When I make up a lot of things in my mind, it seems to take me a long time to deal with them. So maybe you don't get so interested in creating long stories about yourselves and all these things. But it's never, they can sound like a doing, but the goal of them all is that you're not doing. Does that make sense? Because there should always be relaxation in the end. There should always be something that you do not have to uphold. If you have to uphold something, you can just uphold it for a while. But if you really let it go, it's gone. So it's a very good test with things. And many things that you think that you need in your life, you uphold. But they make you tired because it's difficult to uphold things. If you have a strategy all the time, for example, to stay positive, it takes a lot of effort because when the mind is very negative, you really struggle. So that is the kind of a strategy, that something that you have to uphold, a facade of being positive, even when thoughts are negative. So when you get tired enough of all your strategies, and most adults have a lot of them, and they become very heavy, and you have to carry them all the time. To see if they're really needed or if they're just a burden. You don't have to dissect your mind. You don't have to super analyze it. But you will notice certain things that focus your attention time and time again, where you see there is a lot of trying. Those things will stand out if you come back to look at your mind. It's unavoidable. And if you're very taken by them, it can take a while to see what's going on. Maybe you think it's something that is really necessary or that has some kind of great significance. But most things don't. There can come thoughts that really say something profound. But for most people, they're very rare. And when the silence speaks, it will feel like something that is not personal is speaking. You will say, this sentence came from somewhere else. Comes from the same place as sometimes a great idea or a piece of music. Comes from. And the mind can always twist it. The mind with a lot of silence and the right talents can say, I'm making all this great music. But that is not true. Music is happening through that body, through that intellect. And if you take it as it is, you can enjoy that it is happening, but you don't have to suffer the idea of being a great or not so great musician. Most people are terrible at playing. They knew it as kids, but they don't know it as adults. They gotten into the groove of thinking that the adult life is very serious and that we're doing serious things. We talk about money, mortgages, how to invest. And we miss the whole idea that this is a play. Play is just enjoying the moment as it is, investigating it. And when I describe it like that, it sounds like the words spirituality and play are the same. And they are. And play is a good word because in spirituality is often very serious. People compete, and who has read the most books, Vedanta books, spiritual texts, met the most profound spiritual teachers. And then they get very serious. But it's all a play. And when you approach things with playfulness, the chance that there is meditation is so much greater. If you approach them only with the efficient adult mind, you will suffer that. But we're so taken by our dukkha. Most people are taken by their feeling of dissatisfaction. So they always try to compensate with making more. Feeling that it's still not enough. And sometimes people say, have you seen this in this person? This person seems to have cracked the code. And usually it's just someone who understands play. One of the greatest inspirations in my life has been my grandmother. She was great at playing. She had dementia the last 8 or 9 years of her life. But if you played with her, she came back. And we had done it all our lives, so I knew how to play with her. When I was a kid, she made me not fear getting old. Because I saw her life and I saw that she just did things that she liked. And you realize that the qualities that you find beautiful in different people around you, they always lead to the same source. They always lead to gratitude, stillness, peace. Even all these rajastic and tamastic qualities, they will at some point transform. You will come to a point where you feel ambition changes over. Because you will notice that ambition alone won't satisfy. And you might feel sad in the moment that you realize that. But it's beautiful. Because the loss of one thing opens the door for another. And the tamastic qualities always go over, becomes rajastic qualities. And rajastic qualities at some point become sattvic qualities. Yes, and tamas, raja, and sattva, the three kind of qualities. Tamas, you know them? No. Tamastic qualities is like the lower chakras, the pleasure, food. Is very simple, very, and if you're mainly in tamastic quality, I sometimes jokingly say that then you smoke weed and play video games, eat takeout pizza. Like you simplify your life and you just want to make it convenient in a way that is very pleasure driven. And those who are in a tamastic quality usually look up to rajastic qualities. And people who are a rajastic uh, in the rajastic qualities, they're very ambitious. They're very ambitious. They entrepreneurs. They have all these kind of qualities. Very much what our society looks up to the most are these rajastic qualities. But people who stay in the rajastic qualities and have done for a long time and naturally develops sattvic qualities. And that is that they understand that their ambition and these large dreams and ideas only takes them so far. They might realize certain things and they might be happy with that, but there is also a deep foundation of happiness that is never really touched by this. So they naturally come interested in the qualities that takes you to this moment. And those are the qualities that we call sattvic qualities. And this is just a way to explain how those kind of energies move. And in the Indian culture, it's much more clear, because many people who has rajasic qualities look up to sattvic qualities. But here, sometimes sattvic qualities is considered tamastic qualities. Because you just sit in meditation, what are you doing? You're not doing anything for the world. You're not politically active, or you're not an entrepreneur or anything. You're just lazy, just caring about yourself. And that is just a cultural difference. But there is still the longing for the sattvic qualities. The intuitive sense still says that, okay, I have now achieved all my goals, but I still don't feel fulfilled. What is lacking? And I'm just saying, and I'm not saying that there is just one way for people, or that people are not moving in very complicated ways through all these qualities. Someone is staying in sattvic quality for a long time and falls all the way back into tamastic qualities because of some old karma or tendencies that are there. Everything is possible, but it's just a way to understand those qualities and how they move. And if you recognize something in yourself, yes, I used to be like this, but then I started to look up to this kind of quality, and then that changed again. Mm. Yes, of course.
Lots of what you said resonated with me tonight, and that sort of that idea as well of being quite ambitious. I think I've always been quite sort of ambitious and driven in my work and stuff, and I just don't feel that at all anymore. I really don't. I really just don't care. But I also notice other changes, and those are the ones I wanted to sort of talk about. It's like, and the other thing that you sort of started by saying, by the things we talk about, like you're not the body and stuff, they're nice things to say, and of course they're things that everybody reads about and that are often said in these kind of situations. But recently I've had a sort of perspective change, which I just think is it's just scary, and that's sort of what I wanted to talk about. And it sort of happened when I was, we talk about that, we everything is an object, and you can observe your thoughts and observe your feelings and sensations in the body. And I always thought this was, I got the hang of that pretty quick, I guess. I felt, okay, I can observe my thoughts, and it's just thoughts. But then when it comes to things like outside my body, these are also just appearances and awareness. I sort of read that, but I never really experienced it until I did really experience hearing something, and I just instinctually understood this is just arising in my awareness. And it wasn't like I had read it so many times in books or heard it on YouTube or heard it here or something, but suddenly like, oh, holy shit, this really is in my awareness. And that sort of, it sort of really scared me. It's sort of like, oh my God, maybe this stuff is really true. And I think I sort of realized that, like, I think I realized how much of it was sort of a belief for me without having really realized that before. I think I just sort of believed it was so comforting. And then it's sort of like, oh shit, I've gone too far.
Yeah.
I don't need to, it's not a belief now. And then it really scared me. And then I just find like I have a lot of fear now since then. My ego's like, oh shit, like this is serious, man. Stop. Like,
Yeah.
you're going too far.
Yes, but that is what the mind says with it. I also had a very strong experience of that. That I thought I interpreted like these things that we're talking about, like they are very nice things. That you talk about things in a sort of a philosophical way. That the practical application of it is more on a philosophical level, that you have some kind of relationship to the intellectual understanding of it, and therefore you see the world in a different way, sort of, up to a point when the ego fell for me the first time, and I was like, oh, what my teacher is saying is not a symbol of that. It could be, can actually, okay, that's why that the ego falls, because that's really what it feels like. And uh, and I understood all the things that I heard from teachers, like um, why it's so hard to explain it, and it feel someone said it's like the foreground becomes the background, these kind of strange things, that it's the same experience but it's just on the other way around, and that this great fear, that the grip of the egoic mind. I remember the first time I had a longer moment of no ego experience, and that it just felt like I want to get back to normal. It was beautiful, but it was a part of me that just said, but this has to end soon. It has to come back again to normal. It cannot stay like this. It's too much. I went too far. I'm completely out there now. There's no limits anymore. It's like my edges are really, yes. That, and that's why I say sometimes like that you don't really know until you see it. You don't know how it will happen. The idea that you have of how your spirituality will, the spiritual search will unfold, it will not be like that. It will always be in a way like, oh, what? Is it like this? That is real? this kind of this kind of things.
Yes, because it just felt very safe as a philosophy, some kind of
Yes.
rest, like some kind of reassurance.
Yes.
Kind of like a belief
Yes.
system.
Yeah, I understand that feeling completely. That is how the egoic mind likes meditation. In a contained philosophy that sounds really nice. And I think that many people feel like they have a good grasp of meditation when that falls into place. They feel like they have enough pieces for it to really feel logical. It feels solid. I have a good idea of it. And they feel like, okay, I know something about meditation. But as soon as you experience it, you have the feeling, I know absolutely nothing. And that is also very beautiful.
Maybe I think it gave me a little bit of perspective that when I was meditating before, that I could sort of drop my ego self maybe when I meditated, but I would always like just put it on again immediately afterwards. I was like, oh, okay, just now that feels better, back in myself again. And then suddenly I sort of see that and then think that like, oh God, that person is not real. It didn't feel so real anymore. And that's sort of like, oh, I just can't go back there now. It's like I have to go another way now, and that's.
But the beliefs in as soon as it's dropped once, the belief in the ego will be much weaker. It won't have the same hold, and you will also have noticed with, even if it just happens for a few seconds or for a few minutes, it will have changed things. Certain fears are just gone with it. So certain things, certain beliefs with it, just it did. And then you start to realize also when you have read that it doesn't take time, because you realize that it just oof. And also it can feel like a joke, all the times that you have put in effort to really meditate and to really try, and all that seems so ridiculous, all these things. But it is as it unfolds, has to happen like it happens. And all the unknowns about how meditation comes about in your life and how it has spontaneously come. So many people experience loss of ego in their lives, but most people have no idea what that is, and they don't connect it to any practice, to any sadhana. There's no connection between those. You just had a nice experience, and then but you have never connected that, okay, this is what spiritual search is about, those moments. And then you get confused about it because it just happens spontaneously. So how can I do anything about it? What is the point of effort? The point of effort is to understand effortlessness. You try until you give up. Because at first you will say, I don't know what I am doing wrong. I don't know how I am doing things. And it's like if you have this inflatable ball on the beach, have you tried to push one of those underwater? Super difficult. But it's like you just have figured it out how to hold it underwater. And someone's telling you, let go. I don't know what that is. But it takes so much effort to hold. I can see that you're red in your face and your arms are like shaking. Yes, that's just my life situation. It's kind of tough right now. But you can just let go. And that is how we don't understand our effort. We put so much energy into upholding our idea of a egoic mind all the time. The idea, this is happening me, this is a bad or good day, da 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 da. Now I have to do this and this and this. I better do this quickly because da da da. And all that identity, identity, identity in every moment that feels super heavy. And then you go to your therapist and you say, oh, it's too much. I cannot take it. I don't know what to do. Because it is a lot of effort to keep up the egoic mind, to all the time feel separate, because you feel isolated, you feel like no one understands you, you feel exposed, you feel like a victim, you feel all these things all the time. very energy consuming. So it's just to stop. And then you start to say, but how do I do that? How do I let go? And when you let go, you say, it was no effort. I didn't do anything. No, exactly. And I think it's Nisargadatta that he gives the advice a lot. Stop doing, he says to people. Just stop. But then you have to understand what doing is, what effort is. And to most people, that the effort is their life. That is how I feel in control. That is how I feel okay with my life. How can I stop that? So the question is, do you really need those things to uphold your life? What is upholding your life? What is making you go to your work, get out of bed, doing your chores? Is it the egoic mind? Look, see. Does the egoic mind need to tell you everything? And if so, why don't it need to tell you to put the right foot forward, the left foot forward when you walk? But it's almost like the egoic mind would like that. It likes to make a narrative about everything. Everything that you find important. But you're just walking. You're just talking. Life is just happening. You're connecting or not connecting with people. All the things. See if they require you as a doer, or see if life just unfolds as it unfolds. And don't fall into the trap that you think that non-doing is resisting doing, because that is another doing. To be passive, often, that people are afraid of when we talk about things like this, that is a resisting of the natural. You have to resist something that is happening. You have to force yourself in a way. So you just see how it unfolds. When you walk from one place to another, just observe the walking happening. You don't have to take great decisions. You walk the same path every time. And if there is thoughts, they very quickly are resolved in where you're going. If there is a little planning. Most people's minds are just all the time happening. Hey, very good. So am I going to teach you Door of My Heart today? I don't have it written down. You know it, Ola?
No, no, I don't.
You don't?
Just wanted to know.
Okay. Okay. Let's see if I remember it. You can sing along if you want. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Wilt thou come, wilt thou come, just for once come for me? Wilt thou come, wilt thou come, just for once come for me? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Night and day, I look for thee night and day. Night and day, I look for thee night and day. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Wilt thou come, just for once come for me? Wilt thou come, just for once come for me? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Night and day, I look for thee night and day. Night and day, I look for thee night and day. I think Paramahansa Yogananda wrote this when he was going through what some people call a dark night of the soul. He felt like God had abandoned him. And in this context, Lord or God is referred to. He talks about the stillness being. And I think it's a beautiful expression of longing. You have any more questions before we end? More bhajans?
Is it okay?
Of course. Do you have a favorite? Is it the Krishna mantra?
Yeah, you like the Krishna. Yeah.
It's just a qualified, yes. So we sing He He Govinda, He Gopala. He He Govinda, He He Gopala, He He Govinda, He He Gopala, He Vasudeva, He Nityananda, He Vasudeva, He Nityananda, Shri Radhe Radhe Radhe, Radhe 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 Shama, Shri Radhe Radhe Radhe, Radhe 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 Shama, He He Govinda, He Gopala, He Govinda, He Gopala, He Vasudeva, He Nityananda, He Vasudeva, He Nityananda, Shri Radhe Radhe Radhe, Radhe 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 Shama, Shri Radhe Radhe Radhe, Radhe 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 Shama, He He Govinda, He He Gopala, He He Govinda, He He Gopala, He Vasudeva, He Nityananda, He Vasudeva, He Nityananda, Shri Radhe Radhe Radhe, Radhe 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 Shama, Shri Radhe Radhe Radhe, Radhe 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 Shama, He He Govinda, He He Gopala, He He Govinda, He He Gopala. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.